So the crypto market has seen insanity over the last week with prices dropping across the board. Bitcoin is currently sitting around $16,000, the lowest level we've seen in about 2 years, and altcoins have dropped for the most part by anywhere between 20 to 50%. This has all been triggered by the frankly explosive collapse of FTX, the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world that started about a week ago, and it came to the surprise of many, but ever since it started, it's just continued to get worse and worse, and over the last few days, that's been no different at all. The situation has continued to escalate, and things are getting worse, not any better. Today, we're going to very briefly recap what happened up until a few days ago and just show how many $1 billion have been disappeared. And then we're going to establish what has exactly happened over the last couple of days, because as I've said, the situation just keeps getting worse. So over a week ago, we started getting rumors that FTX, the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the entire world, was going to collapse because they had no money, and the money that they did have was actually ridiculously volatile cryptocurrency coins. I put a video out which explained all of this, which you can watch if you've missed that. But in short, FTX staff came out and they all denied all of these rumors. But in the end, all the rumors were actually true, and the company fell apart and collapsed over the course of about one single day. FTX froze all their customers' withdrawals, and so none of their customers were allowed to access any of the assets that they had given to FTX, which was basically like a bank run, but in crypto. After that, there was lots of uncertainty. Binance, the #1 largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, said that they would go out and buy FTX and save the company, but then they had a look at FTX's balance sheet and it turned out to be so much worse than they thought, so they changed their minds and backed out of that deal. FTX then was left without a savior, and so they were running around every place you can imagine, New York, Silicon Valley, begging for investor capital, begging for funds to try and save the company, and they found no luck at all. And as a result of that, the company is now widely believed to be valued at $1 single, when in reality, it actually has about $10 billion worth of debts. Because of all this, confidence in the crypto market as a whole has broken down, so investors sold their coins, they sold their cryptos, they got out of these risky investments, and crypto prices crashed all over the place, as I said earlier, from anywhere from 20 to 50%. That was basically what my previous video explained, though with much more detail and explaining just the timeline behind all of those events, but that's where we left off just a few days ago. Since then though, things have gotten much different, and unfortunately they haven't changed for the better at all. So first of all, FTX originally went very quiet when this collapse was happening, and they basically just stopped announcing anything and almost ghosted the entire world. But on the 11th of November, SBF, or Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and CEO of FTX, announced on Twitter that FTX is officially bankrupt and has been filed as such in the United States. He posted this fairly long Twitter thread here that you can see behind me, but he really didn't say anything worthwhile or substantial there. He apologized for his disgustingly shameful actions. He says he's still trying to fix the problem, and he says he'll give us more information in the future, but no one is holding their breath. It's worth noting that literally just one day before he put out this announcement here, he said that all is fine with FTX and that you shouldn't worry about anything, that they've got $60 billion in cash, and it seems pretty obvious from that alone that fraud has been going on. Now, we saw a lot of other things that emerged as well, like the fact that there was this woman who ran Alameda Research, which was a subsidiary of FTX that actually lost $10 billion trading. Well, she used to have a sexual relationship with SBF, the CEO of FTX. She also went on a podcast a few months ago and basically laughed at the idea of risk mitigation and revealed how insanely irresponsible she was with customers' assets. Basically, these two are probably going to end up in jail at some point. Now, just because FTX has officially declared bankruptcy, it doesn't mean the turmoil and the insanity is over for that company, as it just gets worse from here because abnormalities started to emerge. Now, for this and everything else I covered today, the situation is still evolving, so it might have actually changed, updated at the time you actually watch this video. But FTX's wallets and their assets started to be siphoned off, with over $400 million being lost. Now, we are right now, at the time of me making this video, not 100% sure what this is. Some people are claiming it's a hack from criminals stealing from the company, while some say that FTX employees and their owners are running away with investor money and trying to steal it all. The timing is incredibly suspicious. How convenient is it that as soon as the company collapses, literally on the same day, criminals break in and steal all of their remaining assets. FTX is as of yet calling this an abnormality, and they say that they are investigating it, but nothing else is yet known. Many people are just saying delete the FTX app if you do have it. Don't log onto it, don't try and move anything, just delete the app as it might actually be compromised by criminals and you don't want to risk losing whatever minuscule amounts of assets you have left. Again, this is still a developing situation, so we're not 100% sure what's happening with this, but it doesn't look good at all. Now, if you're like me, you're constantly thinking about how best to get an edge on the markets and really make your investments work for you, then you need to hear about this video's sponsor, Composer. They provide a new automated trading platform that allows you to build your own investing strategies called symphonies that automatically work around the clock to your set specifications. The possibilities are quite literally endless, and it's really easy to use. You can copy other people's strategies, edit them to fit your needs, or build one entirely on your own using logic gates so you don't have to write a single line of code. They've now launched Opus, which is the first actively managed one-click systematic investing strategy for retail investors with 3 different versions, so you can pick the one that best fits your risk tolerance. Opus 8, my pick of the 3, is specifically designed to deliver better risk-adjusted returns and lower drawdowns than a typical 64 stocks and bonds portfolio. So far this year, it's outperformed that typical investing strategy by over 15%. So if any of that sounds interesting, if the idea of creating your own mini hedge fund strategy sounds appealing, then make sure to check out the link down below in the description. I've personally really enjoyed seeing what some Stoic Finance subscribers have built already, and I'm really excited to see what you can build as well. So make sure to check out Composer today, again by clicking the link down below in the description. And now back to the video, and at this point rumors about SBF himself started to emerge. The first one is what you can see behind me on this tweet, the idea that he might have flown away from his home in the Bahamas and run away to Argentina. Now this came from Flight Radar 24, a Twitter account that tracks planes, and they said this: according to tweets, the founder and former CEO of FTX is en route to Argentina after the FTX collapse earlier this week. These claims have though been denied by SBF, who says he's still in the Bahamas, his home, and there's been no evidence provided of either of these claims, so we really don't know what's going on, but this isn't good optics. We also started getting a bunch of rumors that SBF has just been playing video games over the last few days instead of actually trying to save the company, which again are just rumors and unconfirmed, but SBF has not at all covered himself in glory, and confidence about him is ridiculously low for obvious reasons, which is evidenced by these rumors coming out left, right and center. Now, unfortunately for the crypto market as a whole and the wider investor community, this is where things get even worse because it's where contagion starts and other companies are starting to collapse as well. Now, the first one to fall is BlockFi, which is a crypto lender who actually almost collapsed months earlier. So we've already seen most of their customers take their money out. But you might be asking, how did they almost collapse? Well, they were rescued by FTX. FTX basically bought them out, but now that FTX has now fallen, BlockFi is dead as well, with them freezing withdrawals once again, so they are now in the same position, and most people with assets on BlockFi has probably lost their money. There are also some rumors about what happened here, but these are as of yet still unconfirmed. This tweet here reads as follows: from a BlockFi employee, the only reason FTX bailed us out was to get our user funds onto their platform to use in their shell game. They applied immense pressure to get BlockFi funds mitigated to FTX custody. Employees were told by executives not to ask questions about the move. It seems that maybe FTX didn't bail out BlockFi, but used their assets to bail themselves out months ago, and no one knew that this had happened until now. Again, this isn't guaranteed to be true, let's remember. Now, the only saving grace here for this particular crash surrounding BlockFi is that it was already in loads of trouble back when Celsius fell. So as I said, most people who used to have money with BlockFi have already taken their assets out. So losses here for investors are going to be much smaller than those for FTX. As far as contagion goes though, the story doesn't end yet, as we then see Hong Kong-based exchange AAX fall apart yesterday as well. Now, the reasons here are not entirely clear. They claim that this was due to a failure of an unidentified third party, but they also say they have no exposure to FTX whatsoever, so we don't know who they're referring to. Really though, it's most likely the exact same story. They gambled with their customers' assets, they ran out of money, and they ended up losing everything. They have also suspended withdrawals for their customers, so it's the exact same thing as with BlockFi and FTX. Customers who had their assets in this small Hong Kong exchange, well, they're likely now gone. Now, you probably hadn't even heard of this exchange before. I know I personally hadn't. It was relatively small, but it wasn't tiny, with trading volumes of about $2 billion every single month. Now, for one of the scariest pieces of news that we're seeing right now, and it's surrounding crypto.com, and it might be about to crash. Now, once again, there is nothing confirmed, but rumors are around that crypto.com is facing problems and is on the brink of collapse, just like FTX was. Now, this is very important for me to note because I used to use crypto.com a lot and I had well over 6 figures in crypto and stablecoins on that site before the Celsius collapse happened. But in the wake of that Celsius collapse and the sudden realization that stablecoin yielding was more risky than I thought, I sold everything and took everything out of crypto.com. So I personally haven't had exposure there for about 6 months now. That being said, if you have money in crypto.com right now, you need to be seriously careful and consider getting it out while you can. And actually, that should be said for any exchange or cryptocurrency around right now. Be very careful. Be aware that you could lose everything. And if I had any money on these crypto companies, I would take it out instantly, even if I had it in Binance, which is supposedly the most safe option. Now, what are the specific rumors for crypto.com? Well, CZ, the founder of Binance, again, the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, has been hinting that other exchanges are about to collapse. And in specifics, he said, if an exchange has to move large amounts of crypto before or after they demonstrate their wallet addresses, it's a clear sign of problems. Now, this comes right after crypto.com, again, a top 5 exchange in the world and one with loads of mainstream adoption from celebrity adverts and endorsements and loads of advertising on top tier sports like Formula One. Well, they just moved hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crypto around, supposedly to random wallets owned by someone else. Crypto.com's CEO came out and said that this was just a mistake and that they would do things differently in the future to ensure this mistake doesn't happen again. But investors are very unconvinced and think fraud or money laundering or something to that extent is going on. Now, they said that they will release audited proof of reserves, but that takes time. And these things are often promised by many exchanges who then just don't do it at all. And they also said that they will show their reserves, but not their liabilities, which is a bit worrying as well. As a result of all of this turmoil, crypto.com's coin called Kronos or Crow has crashed in price, down 22% over the last week because of this lost faith. And to summarize, crypto.com hasn't crashed yet, and it may not be about to. These may be entirely unfounded rumors, but rumors are circling. And with everything else that has happened, no one should be taking any risks here. Now, there is one final big thing to talk about regarding this whole FTX and SBF ordeal. And this one I have to be very careful about because it is the kind of stuff that I could easily get banned for even mentioning it here on YouTube. So I'm only going to state what the rumors are, what the facts are, and not say my opinion on anything here. Hopefully this way YouTube can't try to censor me and delete me for stating something regarding the opposing view. Now, SBF was the second largest donor to the US Democrats, giving them $36 million for this midterm election that just went through. And all in all, he's given out over $70 million worth of donations. Now, this is 100% true and cannot be denied by anyone, and I am just reporting this as a fact. Here is a quote from the Financial Times just to prove that this is widely accepted and not anything related to a conspiracy theory. He also became one of the most prominent crypto representatives in Washington, supporting digital asset legislation and hiring former regulators as advisors. So according to the Financial Times themselves, and not me, he was lobbying Democrats and government officials in the US in general for crypto regulation to suit his needs. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit dangerous for me to say too much, but the rumors follow this thread behind me here, which you can find if you want. Reports that FTX cryptocurrency has been used in a Ponzi scheme involving the Democrats and Ukraine are circling the internet. A few months ago, FTX and Ukraine partnered together on a crypto donation website to help fund the Ukrainians in the war, and SBF has also been a vocal supporter of Ukraine. Now, the country raised over 60 million US dollars through cryptocurrency, and Ukraine ranks number 2 for crypto use in the world. Now, the big rumors are that money sent to Ukraine was actually invested into FTX and then funneled back to US Democrats in America. This is an accusation of massive fraud and money laundering from American politicians using crypto, FTX, and Ukraine to get it all done. And that is really all I can say on this issue. These are allegations, and I'm just stating what the allegations circling the internet are right now. If you'd like to hear what I actually think about all this and what's actually going on, my real views with no filter, then go and have a look at the link for Stoic Financial Freedom in the description, where I can speak 100% freely with no risk of being deleted or cancelled at all. You also get loads of benefits like hours and hours of exclusive content not available anywhere else, special privileges in our Discord server, and a direct message line to me myself to ask me any questions that you really want answered. We're also running a November only pre-sale for 60% off that will end in 2 weeks, and we're only selling one single slot every day, so you really need to be quick if you want to join. Now, finally, just one last thing to cover for today. Many people are asking why stocks are going up as this crypto market meltdown is happening and asking if there's some kind of inverse correlation here. And the answer is no. This is just traditional investors looking at other things unrelated to the crypto market. We got a low CPI read last month, and many investors think that this is the end of inflation, which is a very dangerous thing to think because every time these investors have said it before over the last 2 years, they've been 100% wrong, but they're rushing into stocks once again based on that idea. This bear market rally doesn't have anything to do with crypto at all, but this idea of inflation over might actually be helping crypto a little bit as investors think that the monetary environment is going to be better over the coming months. We will be talking about this in a future video, but it is a topic for a later day. So if you want to check out any of those links I mentioned earlier, then they are down below in the description. And until next time, stay stoic.